financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is, this is a fun one, Pat's big win, VA benefits, and the young adult needs a power of attorney. Good morning, Brian Small. We'll go right in the order.
That is like a really long title for a topic for today, but it's an exciting one.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Jeffrey Linden. Good morning, Ken. Pat's big win. Pat Samasco, how are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Did you win the lotto?
No, we had a big case come down in the Court of Appeals for us on our Medicaid planning.
So, set the stage. What's the nature of the case? Why was there a case?
So I like to use, let's use you as an example, which that suit looks fantastic on you.
Thank you, Pat. You look very dapper today as well.
You should be buried in that.
Thank you very much.
That's
so
the one
this
I
is
would
the
say.
topic we're on?
And that's an article.
Is that happening this week? Is this something we need to know?
No,
Do you want me to
well,
practice?
Here's a question for you. Let me ask you.
Whoa,
so we talk about that. You, as we're getting older, and everyone's getting older, been doing this for so many years, we're not necessarily living healthier, just longer. And married couples, we have to look at the issue of maybe having to go to a nursing home. And how do you pay for that, and what's the best way?
Wait.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to be the object of Brian is the subject of the discussion.
Well, you know, my father.
I don't
How
want to hear
old are you,
about
Brian?
nursing home.
How old am I?
Yeah.
I will be turning 55 momentarily.
My father-in-law had Alzheimer's at 54.
Okay, we'll
and
use
my
Brian.
dad had a horrible stroke at 61, and they were
Jeez.
both in the nursing home at the same time. So there is no age of that, and it doesn't matter if you're a lawyer or a bricklayer or any. It's going to face all of us. So,
But shouldn't we be using the old guy in the example here?
yeah.
Okay, we can
Yeah.
use me. Fine.
Well,
Fine.
if you had to go to the nursing home, we want Medicaid to pay the nursing home. And I know your nursing home plan. You got one.
I'm not going.
And that's it.
Right.
Every nursing home is full of people that are never going to the nursing home, right? And the chance of you going is slimmer because your wife's there to take care of you. But if she spends all the money to take care of you, there won't be any money left over to take care of her unless we're going to get her remarried. A lot of times the kids can't come in and take care of her. So you need to look at Medicaid planning or VA
I'm
benefits.
a fan of a lot of the novels from the World War II early days, French resistance and so forth. And what they had was a remedy which was known as a little arsenic
You know,
pill
let's talk about
that
that.
they kept under their tooth
Let-
that
let's-
they could take.
Let's
and
talk
pop.
about that.
That's my plan.
That would be your plan, but when you have dementia, you forget where
I'll
the pill
forget
is.
which tooth it's under.
And we've had clients, and everybody thinks of the idea, I want to go gracefully, I'm not going to go there, I want to just kill myself. Nobody that does it ever turn out right. Grandson always walks in and finds grandpa hanging there, or there's a shot, and it's just the most horrible experience. And we need to work on that better, but the reality is we have to look at nursing home planning. And this is a case that we had. Mom had to put her husband in the nursing home. She just couldn't take care of him
Which
anymore.
happens,
Yeah.
okay.
And the average cost is about $10,000 a month, and the average stay is about 30 months. So how do you get Medicaid to pay the nursing home bill? What's immediately protected is the house, what's immediately protected is one car, and what's immediately protected is the funeral contracts. For a married couple, they have a different set of rules than for an individual. So for you, Ken, half of the assets up to $137,000 are protected, including on top of the house.
Okay.
So if you have $637,000, 137 is protected.
So what do you do with the other 500?
The other 500 is at risk. Well, the rule is for Medicaid is that the first 137,000 is protected, or the amount that's ordered by a court for the support of the spouse at home. A spousal support order increases the amount that protect of the
So
amount
I've got
that's
this pot of
protected.
500,000 now. You can protect
You have a
137.
you can protect if you have a pot of 637,000. 137,000 is protected. How do you protect the other 500?
Wait. I'm going to just ask you something because you just said something about a spousal support.
Spousal support.
Isn't that usually something that's involved with the divorce?
Well, that's the interesting thing, because I used to be a divorce lawyer. All probate lawyers would go to probate court and ask the probate judge for a support order to support the spouse at home. But when you go to probate court, everybody and their brother are called interested parties.
Get notices.
And who's the interested parties? The husband, the wife, creditors, kids, neighbors, cousins,
Everybody has
friends,
to get
and
notice. Yeah.
the Medicaid office, the Department of Human Services, because they are obligated to pay the nursing home bill once you're on Medicaid. So you have to tell them, and they're entitled to stand up and yell and scream. And because of COVID and everything is Zoom now, the Attorney General is there every time there. And the probate judge has to look at his obligation to pay under the patient pay amount.
So what's the solution?
So the solution is they went to the Court of Appeals, and that really got knocked down in the probate court. Well, prior to my being a elder law attorney, I was a family law attorney, and we always went to family court.
Circuit court.
Circuit court, which is family court, completely different than probate, different address. And you go in and you ask for a support order through the family court. We've done it for years and years and years. It worked 100% of
So
the time.
that's the solution to my 500,000 pot?
That's the solution for the pot, whether it's 500 or
I just
100,000.
I want to clarify something.
Go ahead.
So people have to get divorced?
No, exactly, and that's the thing. And the Attorney General, they got upset with this plan and they fought it.
What are you doing so you'd go into circuit court and get a
So you go into circuit court and say, you know what, my husband's in the nursing home and I cannot live with him anymore. And if I spend all the money to take care of him, there won't be any money left over to take care of me. So I want all of the assets and I want all the income to go into my pot under a support order. And when the judge enters that order, it immediately protects all the assets and it immediately protects all the income.
So you can put all the assets into the non-nursing home spouse's name.
Yep.
They don't have to get divorced to do that.
No.
And
then you get the order from the court. We're going to take a break. We'll come back and tell us what happened in the case.
Sure.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
Pat was recommended by a friend who insisted that we really needed a trust. And he said, I know somebody who will do a good job for you.
At Samasco Law, we deal with estate planning and trusts every day.
We had excellent service from Samasco Law. Any questions we had were addressed. Our estate is in order and it had been set up so well that nothing needed to be done. I would just highly recommend Samasco Law.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem. All right, so we're back. All right, so you're in circuit court. You've done this. So how did you end up with this
So
case?
I'm in
and the
circuit
win?
court. And who's in circuit court? The husband and the wife.
They don't
And they're-
object.
No, because this is the
the
right
plan.
thing to do. But the husband can't represent himself. He needs a power of attorney, and the wife can't be the power of attorney. So what's the most important document in our estate plans?
Power of
Financial
attorney.
power of attorney. It has to have the language in there that says I pick my son or my daughter to represent me in this family court situation because my wife would have a conflict of interest. So we go to court, we put the settlement on the record, and the support order gets entered, and then we apply for Medicaid, because dad's in the nursing home. And the attorney general has a heart attack, and they fight and yell and scream, and they want to fight it.
So how did they get into the case?
Well, that's what they screwed up, because they came into family court as if they were in probate court and said, we don't like it, we're fighting it, and we want the judge to reconsider it.
But they're not a party.
And they're not a party. See, that's the difference. In family court, you can only have parties. When's the last time someone got divorced and the attorney general was in there?
It doesn't happen.
Right. It's not allowed, but it's allowed in probate court. So they couldn't get their arms around that. They argue that, hey, you're not really divorced, you still love
in
each
circuit
other.
court, did the judge allow them to come in and argue?
Well, they came in and argued, and the judge says you don't have standing
and then
to be here.
And they went up on they took
And
that
then
up
they
on
took
appeal?
on appeal.
So it goes up to the Court of Appeals, and who did you argue for?
Both the husband and the wife's attorney argued that, who the hell are you? You don't have the right to even be here in this court. Michigan is a no-fault divorce state. The only people that are involved are the husband and the wife, and no third parties have the right to stand there and object or argue
but again,
anything.
This wasn't a divorce.
It's not. It's called
It's
a
a-
legal separation.
But it's still in circuit court.
And that's one of the arguments that the Attorney General said, is that you're not getting divorced. You still love each other. He's just in the nursing home. And a separate Court of Appeals case came back and said the mere fact that one spouse is in the nursing home and the other spouse can't live with them, that is a legal separation. And
Well, there
as
you
a
go.
result, we can be in the family court. And as a result, it's the parties that negotiate the settlement, no one else.
So the
So the
couple
Court of
has to
Appeals
be
came to-
physically separated for this
Well,
to work.
well, you think about it. When you have a loved one, a husband or a wife, and they have dementia, do they really know who you are?
You
a lot
are
of the time?
separated.
You are. That's not the person you married. He's walking through the streets
I would agree.
half naked, or she
So-
doesn't know.
So the
It's-
Court of Appeals issued an opinion in your favor?
We argue it, and the Court of Appeals said, number one, that the Attorney General or the Department of Human Services has no standing to argue anything in
So-
the case, but
So the
they do-
takeaway is always do this in circuit court now.
The takeaway for us is always do it in circuit court, because that's the proper
Do the other
space.
probate attorneys know that, or are they still going to probate? Or other elder law attorneys
We've been
still
on.
going to
That's probably one of the probate lawyers wanting my phone number right now. We've been going out lecturing.
That was the White House, but we put them on hold for the rest of the
That
show.
was. We've been out lecturing to the other elder law attorneys in the state and the country, actually, how to do this in the family court. Most probate lawyers don't know where the family court is. They've never been in front of the court. They don't know the
And they're kind of
process.
afraid of it because they don't know it.
You know what you do what you know.
Here's
so.
the $1 million question.
So anyway,
Do you-
congratulations. That's great.
It is great. Do you foresee the result of you winning this appeal that the Attorney General is going to try and get legislation?
Well, that's the appropriate
changed?
spot for it. What the Attorney General is trying to do is have our court system to change the law in their favor. You have to go to the legislature and change the law.
Now, is that state law governs that? Or would
It's
that
state
be-
law, but it's actually, most states have this, that it's the court order support, and it's called the Spousal Impoverishment Act. It says that you don't want to spend all the money taking care of the sick spouse and mom's got to live in a cardboard box.
Yeah,
right?
that's the whole point. Is people
Yeah.
is that the Attorney General is ignoring the legitimacy and the reasons why you're doing what you're
Correct.
doing. You're not manipulating the system. You're making the system work the way it
Yeah.
should. The spouse that doesn't need the nursing home has to be able to live. If you take all the
Right.
assets and you
Yeah.
give it all to the nursing home, how's the spouse who's not in the nursing home going to live?
And it's the funny thing is there's 10 different ways to save 100% of the money from the nursing home for a married couple. There's all sorts of options that we have. But to take that $500,000 out of Dad's name, where's that money at probably, Brian?
IRA.
In his IRA.
Right.
Most
Becomes
people
a
have to
taxable-
cash
huge
it
taxable
in
event.
and put it into the wife's name, and that would create a taxable event.
Oh, so you can keep it still in the
You're doing,
IRA?
you're doing a quadro then, aren't you? And transferring it
Wonderful.
tax-free.
That's wonderful. That's a great
And
way.
it's a plan that we've used for years
All right,
and
let's,
years and years.
let's move on. We also
That's
put,
where the financial planning. See, not only as a lawyer, I'm also a financial advisor. So, and as a family law attorney, I can bring all those elements together to save all the money from the cost of the nursing.
That's
home.
the way you always say you can protect 100% of the money 100% of the time
And
for a married couple.
Not only does it transfer all of the assets to the wife, we transfer all of the income to the wife. So Dad's income zero. And if Dad's income zero, how much does the nursing home get?
They get paid in full from Medicaid.
Then they get, so the
but they
patient
get
pay
nothing
amount
from
is zero.
the patient.
And it's the same care, it's
I
the
thought
same
you always
bed.
say how much
it's
can
the
you
same-
afford to lose?
We can't afford to lose a dime. And the government sure as hell's not trying to fix it for us.
Brian commented that my title for the show was very long. It was Pat's Big Win, VA Benefits, and the Young Adult Needs a Power of Attorney. Let's start on the power of attorney. Why does the young adult need a power of attorney? I thought only old geezers need a power
Wait,
of
wait,
attorney.
let me dig in on this one. Because you can't make a decision for your 18-year-old, even though your 18-year-old thinks they're an adult. We all know that 18-year-olds are not adults yet, and they need assistance in making financial
Let's
decisions.
take a vote. Do you agree on his statement? 18-year-olds are not adults?
In his context, yes.
Do you agree with that statement?
Yeah. But what the reality is, every 18-year-old never thinks they're going to get sick. They're never going to get hurt.
Right.
Moms always think that they can always take care of their kids.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll finish up on that issue and talk about the VA benefits.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
We were just spinning. We just didn't know what was going to happen next.
At Samasco Law, we deal with these issues every day, especially elder law. Pat went to work for Fran.
Patrick was there holding my hand, kept saying, "We'll get through this, we'll get through this."
He got her husband Medicaid and in a nursing home. Samasco Law got the success they deserved.
Samasco Law is definitely family to me. I really appreciate knowing all of you.
Time for announcements. So I want to remind our viewers to listen to us to Law and Reality Live on the Praise Network, Tuesdays 10 a.m. and Saturdays 7 o'clock a.m. and on KISS 105.9, Sundays 7 o'clock a.m. We've got a seminar coming up Wednesday, October 26th, 6 o'clock p.m. Too Much Debt is Needless Pain. This is a live seminar at our offices in Bingham Farms. We're going to go over how to eliminate debt, bankruptcy and non-bankruptcy solutions. The key is the future, saving rather than struggling. Attendees get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Sign up at thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, or call 888-235-HELP. Remember, you can always come into the office for a free consultation, or if you're concerned about COVID or any other issues, you can do a teleconference or a phone conference, but you're more than welcome to come on in. We're doing conferences live and in person. Just call 888-235-HELP or go online and sign up. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business law issues, elder law issues with Pat, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner. Sign up at lawandreality.com or call 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-4357. Also, go online for free reports. Resolving Tax Problems to Real Solutions by myself and Jeff Linden. Bankruptcy, Is It Right for Me by Brian. How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure, Business Formations and Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan, and The Retiree's Guide to Social Security from Pat Simasko. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Simasko Law, and Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so we're at the break. At the break, Mr. Linden made a request to the bench seeking to change his answer. I am granting you your motion. You may change your response.
Thank
Go
you,
ahead.
Your Honor. I think an 18-year-old is an adult, but they're not mature, and they tend to not make good decisions, and they need the help.
I'll throw in my 2 bits. I think when I was 18, I was more than capable of making my own decisions for myself, but I will defer to say that as an adult and as a parent, I don't know that I felt the same way about my children's decision-making process.
So everything that you're saying is true, but the reality is this. You need a power of attorney, medical and finance, before you get sick. And
Right.
when the hell is that going to happen?
And that can happen when you're
Right,
18, and that can happen when you're
we had the most
30.
traumatic experience in our family a couple weeks ago, because we're creating a power of attorney for my son who's going to Michigan State. So he said, why not create him for my daughters? So here's my wife who's loved and cared for our 3 kids for their whole life. So my oldest daughter says she picks her sister to be the power of attorney instead of the mom, and that literally crushed my wife so bad. And
oh, that's right. You don't get to decide
you don't get to
who
pick
the attorney is.
Yeah.
So did you convince her to make?
I told my wife I would change the document on the word process. No, you can't do that, Brian. You're not allowed to do that.
I'm
So,
well aware of that.
but you need that.
But you're allowed
you
to
need
do that?
No one's allowed to do. But Brian brought it up at the break. Is that when your son or daughter goes to Michigan State, where my son's at right now, mom doesn't have authority to act on behalf of your child, once they turn 18. So the financial power of attorney, you need that so they can look in and double check things and check credit
Just
You
cards.
once had a wrong bill, right?
Yeah, wrong bill. Tuition
Yeah.
with an extra zero in it. You know, it's not that.
So instead of 200, it was 2,000.
No, yeah. Wish it was 200. Wish it was 2,000.
Well,
That's
here's the
difference,
thing,
right?
though. So everybody starts a little bank account for the son, and mom says, well, I'm on his bank account. Why do I need a power of attorney? Because you're not on the Michigan State financial stuff,
Right.
and you're not on the credit card, and you're not on the Comcast
So
cable
what should you
bill.
do in that case?
You need a financial power of attorney, and you do it when he comes home for Thanksgiving or Christmas. Call
So you
us
make
up
it
and
an
we'll do it.
immediate power, not a springing power.
We
right?
do, because so there's a durable power of attorney and a springing durable power of attorney. The springing power of attorney says if two doctors say you're sick, it springs into effect. Well, if the son's at Michigan State, he's not sick, so mom doesn't have any authority to act. So we do usually a durable power of attorney. It says mom can act on it.
And it's not just those students. If you're thinking, oh, my kid's up at state. If your kid's in Arizona, it's just as important
Yeah.
because now you literally have the only control you have is that piece of paper that you can email down someplace and talk to somebody. on the other
Everyone
end.
needs it. Everyone needs one, and they need it at least a day before they get sick.
When my kids,
And when is that?
I tell you what I did. When both
Usually
of my
on
kids turned
Friday.
18, I said,
But you better do it on Thursday.
Right.
I said, happy birthday. Glad you turned 18. Here's your cake. Here's your present. Sign here.
It's a power of attorney.
Yeah.
And that power of attorney, because everybody has a power of attorney, but they don't have the language that I need to protect the money if someone goes into the nursing home. Every UAW power of attorney doesn't have the language. They say, I trust my wife, I trust my son to make all my decisions, but I'm going to tie their hands and not let them do all these
Yeah, you have
decisions.
to have- it has to be the
Those
right
are
document.
that's the tool in the toolbox that I need. If we didn't have that power of attorney, in that case, we could not have protected 100% of the money from the nursing home.
For sure. Let me share a story, and you're saying, when do you get sick? I'm just having a thought back to 5th grade. I used to get sick because I would be nervous about the spelling test on Monday afternoon every day. So I went through a period in 5th grade where I got sick at lunch. We'd go home for lunch during the day, and I'd be sick for Monday afternoon. And after doing this several different times, I remember the 5th grade teacher asking me, why is it that you get sick every Monday afternoon? And of course I denied that whole statement to him and said, I don't know what you mean. But what I wanted to say to him is, well, why do you think, Mr. So-and-so? It's because the spelling test is on Monday afternoon.
Yeah.
See, the good thing about that is I remember it. And the teacher's name was Mr. Simon. He
We
was a
clearly
good-
have a
good guy.
situation where we don't have dementia yet.
No, it's
What's your n-
short-term
yeah, I agree
memory
with you,
loss.
Jake.
No.
Jake, you're right.
See, that's the thing.
Exactly.
Short term, it starts. You lose your memory currently, then you remember everything in the back.
Absolutely. That's a wrap. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.